much. Let's get reaction then from the retail expert, Kate Hardcastle. Good afternoon, Kate. Let's just recap then. Boohoo is taking Dorothy Perkins, Burton Wallis and Debenhams online. ASOS is doing the same with the other parts of Arcadia, the likes of Topshop and Topman. What will be left on the high street for people who don't want to do their clothes shopping online?
The high street has had to accept this evolution of the way that we shop, which has been speeded up certainly by COVID, but was certainly afoot prior to the pandemic hitting our shores. And I think we've got to be very realistic that it can't be a high street that just hangs its hat on retail. Fashion has been particularly hurt over the last 12 months, 18 months, because we just haven't been buying as much to go out anywhere or go on holiday anywhere. And I think the fast fashion movement these brands operate online isn't just about taking brands on and just purely having them online. It's about how they repackage these brands, repositioning them, finding new audiences for them, and using their great power, their great wealth of experience, and doing this already successfully to add another few notches in their belt in terms of the brands that they've got in their portfolio.
Back to the evolution of the high street you mentioned. Goodness, they're going to look a lot different, aren't they, when we come out of this lockdown? What examples have you seen from other places around the world that show what we could be thinking of in terms of how we kind of harness the future of those spaces, whether, you know, in small towns and with lots of independent retailers or bigger places to change the face of the high street?
We are people who need to be connected with other people. We need community places to be. That doesn't mean that it has to be high streets full of stores, but certainly a collective of things and places to be and use. We need more residential in there. We need more sports and leisure in there. We need to accept that it's about being together, and retail's going to be the best of it, and we need retail great and small too. It's the vibrancy of the different types of retail mixed and blended together, the best of its type. But what I would say is, if you look somewhere like Melbourne that didn't have a coffee shop on every single high street of the same brand and encouraged and facilitated independent stores as part of the mix, they're probably an example of how we can start to see this great blend that we deserve. And really, it just hasn't had the attention, it hasn't had the right funds, and unfortunately it's been left down to plans that perhaps haven't been prioritised in terms of how much we need our high streets and how much we really need them to be part of our community infrastructure. We need them to be better. We need that investment.
And just some other news that broke this morning, as more brands do go online. Tesco has led the call for a new type of online sales tax for the biggest online companies. Should something be done briefly, Kate, if you will, by the government to reflect these changing times?
I think changing times and reflecting the business rates so they're relevant to the way that we shop today, absolutely fine, makes good sense, do the review. But for Tesco to call on that, when Tesco themselves have dominated a lot of high streets and smaller businesses have not been able to compete with Tesco, I'd like to see bigger retailers being responsible for their smaller retailers and making sure that we get a better blend throughout. So I hope Tesco starts to do the right thing in paying its smaller retailers and giving back where it can too.
Obviously, Tesco isn't here to respond to what you've just said, but thank you very much for your thoughts on what could happen next to the high street. Kate Hardcastle, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.